Waycross City Commission Planning Information Session is now called to order. At this time, we look to our city's manager to call for our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mayor James for this work session.
Let us rise. In the book of Matthew, chapter 6, there is a passage of scripture that actually deals with Peter asking Jesus about praying, and he gives what we call the model prayer. And the text reads as we pray, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Let's look to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone to be a guest tonight?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor, we do not.
Without that, we'll then turn this remainder of our docket over to the hands of our city's manager, Mr. Duke Redford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we'll start the work session, beginning with travel and training schedule. We do have traveling and training scheduled for this month, the month of June, with a date of June 26th to June 30th, and that is the GMA Annual Conference, which will be held this year in Savannah like years previously. The commission will be attending, myself and two of our directors.
Thank you.
With that, as well as the city attorney. My apologies, Mr. Mayor. With that, Mr. Mayor, we're moving to the planning information session, starting our discussion items, and then we'll begin with the bids by Ms. Jackson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners.
Good evening.
We have two items on the agenda tonight. The first one is for our annual oil and lubricants contract for our fleet vehicles and heavy equipment. We actually received 4 bids for that, and the lowest and best bid came from Boswell Oil. The breakdown should be on your workbook before you. And we are asking that you approve this bid so that we can start this annual contract, which will begin July 1 of this year.
Very good. At this time, I'll go to each district, and I'll start with District 1, Commissioner Roberts.
Yes, sir.
District 2, Commissioner Simmons.
Yes, sir, I have a quick question. Have the costs gone up dramatically?
No, sir,
They have?
it has not.
Okay. Yes, sir.
District 3, Commissioner
Yes, sir.
Sanders.
Yes, sir.
District 4, Commissioner Tompkins.
Yes, sir.
And District 5, Commissioner Nelson.
Yes, sir.
We have all 5.
All right. The next item before the commission is for our annual pest control contract. For this one, we actually received 7 bids, and the lowest and best bid came from Sunbelt Termite Pest Control out of Alma, Georgia, and the breakdown is before you in your workbook. We are asking that you approve this contract, or we are asking to get this contract approved, and it will also begin July 1.
Thank you. Now I'll go to the districts again, and we'll start with District 1, Commissioner Roberts.
Yes, sir.
And then District 2, Commissioner
Yes, sir.
Simmons.
Yes, sir.
And District 3, Commissioners
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes, sir.
And District 4, Commissioner Tompkins.
Yes, sir.
And District 5, Commissioner Nelson.
Yes, sir.
We have all 5 commissioners consenting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're moving to the remaining of the discussion items. Some of this is repetitive, but select commissions felt the need to continue the conversation, and we'll kind of touch on a few points for those areas that we discussed before previously. Mr. Mayor, the first few items are going to deal with some legislative action that's occurring right now. This will be outside of the meeting scheduled for Wednesday with the state officials, and we'll kind of touch on that as well. Just want to provide an update on two of the Senate bills we've been discussing as we have new information to those two bills. Then the commission wanted me to cover the lost in detail. I'll try to cover that a little bit, and then we'll close all that out to go into some future policy decisions. I will tell the public, those who are watching, the slides are very detailed, so we won't cover every bullet point on the slides. But if they can review those bullet points, there will be some links built in as well to go further for further information to bring them up to speed on what's going on as far as legislative changes. So with that, we'll begin. Mr. Mayor, before I jump into the Senate Bill 33 and the Senate Bill 447, I wanted to open up with a quick discussion on what property taxes really are. I think right now, this is the focal point of a lot of change, with policy changes right now as far as policy tax relief. But the word is really misinterpreted because of tax, property tax. And we did a survey. We didn't have a lot of people fill out a survey. We did one online, and then we did some face-to-face over the last 2 weeks, asking our residents did they understand what the property tax is and what it pays for. And many of our residents do not understand what the property tax pays for. I think we all kind of know that. We've been trying to talk about it more at the town halls. I tried to touch on it a little bit at the last town hall for, I think, District 4. We did not discuss it much at the previous town halls, but that's an item we need to discuss probably in detail so our residents truly understand what it provides. So I won't read everything on here, but for the most part, it says tax, but it's definitely not a tax. We like to think of it more as a people service fee. I mean, that's what it provides. It pays for people to do service. And I want to start making that point more so as we move forward with our budget process this year and for the conversations the commission is going to have here in about 2 weeks once some changes, possible changes happen, that we're grounded in facts on what the property tax is and what it does. So for the city, every dollar that we collect supports the men and women that make our community go every day. And I often talk about our big three, police, fire, and public works, but we definitely got a great support staff that the big three could not operate without them. So essentially all our departments are supported, for the most part, by the property tax. And just an example, when a crime occurs, you need assistance from, or accident, property taxes pay for the officer showing up. If your house is robbed, it pays for the police showing up. If it's a pothole, it pays for the public works department showing up. If a water main breaks in the middle of the night, it pays for the contracted water team we have to come fix the water leak. Same thing with the internal stuff as far as the engineering work and designs and IT. The team has really tried to connect these dots for our residents to understand, like it's just not a pot of money that goes nowhere. Again, it pays for the services provided by our workforce, their salaries, and then their benefits. And again, in most cities, this is pretty much the whole budget, pretty much, as far as services by our people. And again, I just outlined some stuff that our people do every day. And some things you can't see that might seem small, but it is performed, and it does have a cost to it. And again, when you look at the budget, sometimes you can look there and see all these line items, all 136 pages of our budget, and it's easy to get confused in there because most of that is people doing work in those budgets, not just line items. And I'm bringing this up because as we talk about the discussion of property tax relief or reduction, it does mean reduction in services. And that's got to be said out loud to our residents so they truly understand. And like I said, we've been vocal about reaching out to your state reps and ask them, how are you going to fund the services if we change to a different stream of revenue? And I hit that when we talk about lost and flossed. So the real question again is, how much is, it's not simply how much we paying in taxes, it's what service are we getting for our taxes. And during the budget brief, we discussed our residents don't pay real costs for our services. We take a hit, even though we made a lot of reductions in the budget this year. The real cost of those services is still not there, or still not met in most cases. So I want to start here because as we go down through the floss and the loss, and some other terminology. I just want to make sure that our residents truly understand what property tax pays for, and how important it is for cities, for all cities, not just the city of Waycross. I'm gonna stop there, Mr. Mayor. Do y'all want to make any comments or concerns?
I'll open the floor to the district commissioners, and I'll start with District 1. District 2,
Not this time, Mr. Mayor.
District 3,
Not at this time, Mr. Mayor.
and District 4.
No, sir.
District 5.
No, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commission. So with that, Mr. Mayor, we're jumping through these two bills that were requested to put on the agenda. Senate Bill 33, we'll start with that one. And again, these bills are available online. We did put out the links that you can go to get all the information if you need more information, and how it affects the citizens. So we discussed this, I think, as far as meeting. This will be our 6th time discussing this bill in a meeting format. But of course, we're going to discuss it again if changes are made. So we can read there how we got to Senate Bill 33 from House Bill 581, and you can see there where it talks about the floating, the floss, homestead exemptions, and then the loss down there as far as the local homestead option sales tax and what they really are. Like I said, we've had this discussion a few times already. So, and this again is kind of explaining the concept about property tax relief or property tax capping that we're, the direction we're headed in. So in practical terms, the legislation, it shifts the long-term financial structure of local governments. While property tax relief for existing homeowners, it also limits one of the primary ways cities, counties, and school systems naturally keep pace with inflation. And I'll try my best not to read all these points, Mr. Mayor, but some of them are very important that people can hear it out loud and also go back and read for themselves. So again, operationally, so when revenue growth becomes tied to inflation rather than market value, under current market conditions, if a home's value increases by 8%, but inflation only by 3%, the taxable value will only increase by 3% for the existing homeowner. Point 2, existing homeowners receive increasing tax protection. This is talking about if you go to this model. The longer someone owns their home, the larger difference between the fair market value, taxable value. A homeowner may own a $400,000 home but only pay taxes of $275,000 because of the accumulated inflation cap. And I'm bringing this up again because I really want our residents to understand potentially what could happen. Number 3, new homeowners reset the market value. So when the property is sold, that cap disappears and the taxable value resets to the current fair market value. The new owner begins accumulating inflation-limited increases from that point forward. This creates disparities when neighbors in identical homes may pay significantly different property taxes simply because one purchased years earlier. We're already having that problem right now, currently in the city of Waycross based off of other factors. Number 4, and again, this is not trying to push anybody either way. We're just trying to share the information. Local governments lose automatic revenue growth. You know, for cities like Waycross, this is our biggest concern because at the end of the day, we still have to cover all our services by a known tax that is predictable. If tax values can only be increased by inflation, but actual costs rise fastest, governments will face structural budget gaps over time. And I've talked about this before about going ahead and getting prepared for when that day comes. Of course, we don't want to cut any personnel, but there will be a time, and as you know, it looks like it's going to move forward, that we'll look at our services and when we render our services, or at least cutting back on our services. Number 5, this is a big thing for us. Growth becomes increasingly dependent on new construction. Future revenue growth, and this is the conversation of if we go away from the current model and go towards a sales tax model, then that burden of revenue would then be passed on to business owners or new homeowners. Annexation, if we have industry comes here, you know, they're gonna pick up the burden of that. Now, we kind of just shifting where we get the money from. And right now for us, it would be detrimental because we don't, unfortunately, although we've had a lot of growth this last year, we got a lot of business going on right now. That fluctuation in how we collect taxes might not be able to catch up. So, of course, the commercial property right now is unaffected. It will stay under the same laws as far as taxation. And then number 7 there, the mandatory nature removes local flexibility. So previously under the House Bill 581, we had the option of opting out if the return of policy would negatively affect the financial stability of the city. Senate Bill 33 removes that discretion. So it pretty much eliminates the ability of the commission to look at these performance measures on what's going on as far as tax collections and maybe pull out. That takes that authority away from the commission. And then it kind of says administrative burdens are reduced, and it's just saying it eliminates all those procedures, and that's mainly our hearings and other opt-out procedures we have to have if we were able to opt out. But of course, that wouldn't be issue anymore. So again, the practical effect, I'm gonna read this for local governments. The legislature is best understood as a constraint on future revenue growth rather than an immediate reduction in revenue. Existing homeowners receive greater protection from rapidly rising property taxes, but cities, counties, and school systems may see their property taxes base grow more slowly over time, unless offset by new development, commercial growth, or other revenue sources. This can place increasing pressure on budgets as the cost of providing essential services continue to rise. So, went kind of fast on that, Mr. Mayor, but I know we talked about it before. So again, just in summary, there are pros and cons to this new model if it does take an effect of, putting a cap on property taxes or going solely away from property taxes and going towards the sales tax model. Mr. Mayor, is there any questions at this time on these first few slides?
Just a small question. This deals with referendums. Will this come before the people? And will they have opportunities to?
I'm going to cover that in a later.
speak to that?
Yes, I'm going to cover that in a later slide, Mr. Mayor. All right. So that kind of gets into the conversation about the loss, the local option homestead tax. And again, it is a tax because it would be, this would be run by the state of Georgia. And we simply saying things that kind of that penny tax that we put on the backside of 8% that we already collect. The revenue generated would then be given to local government. So basically the county would collect the taxes and then they would in turn put it down towards the cities. And of course, this is all in the effort to reduce or eliminate a portion of property taxes for qualifying homestead properties. The exact impact depends on the amount of sales tax collected and how the revenues are distributed. And the problem here again is if you look at the budget this year, we talked about even collecting more sales tax, but they're paying for less because we relies on pretty much market spending. It's going to be hard for us to gauge how we budget our services. If we have to really go with the CPI model in that aspect. Who it benefits? Homeowners with qualified homestead exemption generally receive the greatest benefit, direct benefit through lower property taxes. However, renters, visitors also pay the additional sales tax when making purchases, helping spread the tax burden beyond only property owners. And we had this conversation before, with Red Cross being more rental spaces than owners. So that's another problem we're going to have if we went to this model. What does it mean for local governments? Of course, it changes how we receive revenue. And of course, instead of us relying heavily on property taxes, a larger portion of our funding will have to come from the sales tax collections. This means revenue can fluctuate depending on local economy and consumer spending, and that will take away our predictability that we have right now when collecting property taxes. And again, sales tax revenue can rise or fall based on several factors. Of course, right now, with the economic conditions of the country, dollar's not going as far as it needs to be for a lot of reasons. A lot of people are not spending like they used to right now. That's going to be a factor as well. Of course, that word inflation. And then for us, tourism activity, and then retail growth or decline. That's a big factor. Because of this, governments carefully plan budgets and maintain reserves to ensure essential services continue even during periods of reduced sales tax collection. And again, back to that first slide about what a property tax is. It's a people service fee, and that's who it supports. And that's who the people who do the work. Even with the loss, if we had it, we still got to, balance our budget. We still got to account for inflation. We still got to account for rising labor costs, insurance increases, fuel costs, equipment replacement, infrastructure maintenance, and all these areas. And with the revenue decrease while costs continue to rise, we may have to adjust, again, service levels, delay projects, or identify other streams or revenue sources. All right, Mr. Mayor, this is a question you asked earlier about if the local or the loss referendum does not pass. And keep it simple. If it doesn't pass, then we keep it the same model on property taxes. That's how it will work. That's a simple answer to it. And again, there's pros and cons to this. If it didn't pass, cities and counties and school systems will continue to rely on existing property tax structure. Revenue will continue to be generated through current millage rates and taxable values rather than being partially replaced by lost sales tax collections. Local governments would not have to adjust budgets to account for a shift from property tax revenue to sales tax revenue. For local businesses and consumers would not pay the additional 1% lost sales tax on eligible purchases. Visitors and non-property owners would not contribute to local government funding through that additional sales tax. All right, Mr. Mayor, again, if we were to go to a vote and it failed, this is a breakdown of the trade-off as far as the summary. So if it were to pass, the homeowners would generally receive property tax relief. And then again, you have to look at Waycross on our population, on how we set up as far as renters and homeowners. A 1% sales tax, it will help fund local government services, funding is shared more broadly with shoppers and visitors. And again, we got to look at who actually shops here, who actually visits here. I know we've had a lot of discussions about not doing certain things and other potential revenue creating sources as far as visitation. So that conversation will have to come back up as well. And then local revenues may become more dependent on consumer spending. That's if it passes. If it fails, of course, we will stay with the same property tax structure that we have now. No additional lost sales taxes imposed. Funding continues to rely more heavily on property owners, and then revenue remains more predictable through property taxes. So for communities like Waycross, the key policy question is whether benefits of shifting part of the tax burden from homeowners to sales tax payers outweighs the potential. That's probably a bad word there, but potentially us relying more on consumer spending and in the CPI model to provide essential services like police, fire, public works, and infrastructure maintenance. Again, loss is not free money. It changes where some local governments' revenue comes from by relying more on sales tax and less on property taxes for qualified homeowners. The overall goal is to provide property tax relief while maintaining the service residents depend on every day. But success depends on maintaining a healthy local economy and stable sales tax collections. All right. Mr. Mel, any questions on that?
Well, I hear the word loss, and the loss is the local option sales tax.
Correct.
But the L host, this is dealing with the homestead tax.
Yes.
So there is a distinction between the two words, although they sound similar.
Yes.
The only problem that I would have with this then is if we know that we're going to do this as a referendum, the question then, because this is not going to be a city thing, this is going to be a county-wide thing.
Correct.
So this would need to be discussed both with our city, local government, and our county governments to make sure that this goes forward in a proper way.
And the school board will
Yes, sir.
in play too. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would it be possible for us to get the tax commissioner perhaps to come and give a presentation much like he did the county commissioners?
Yeah, so we're reaching out now because, that's a great question, Commissioner. We're reaching out now. I know the lesson went out with assessment values already, so we did reach out. But I think that once a year, come around and talk about it, it's too late at that point in time, I think. So we got to figure out what the involvement is amongst all of us. I mean, of getting together, trying to figure this out. Because I think we are going to this model, the other host. So, but we reached out to him now, and we'll try to probably get him here after we get back from the GMA.
Yeah.
And speaking along those lines, Commissioner Tompkins as well as city manager, one of the thoughts that I had listened to our tax commissioner, he spoke to us in a meeting not too long ago, and those property tax increases that we received in the mail, they weren't sent by him.
So
And they
the
were-
whole board, yeah.
Right, they were sent by this Board of Assessors, and so if we have anything that we need to do, we need to make sure that we go ahead and put that in before them. And there is a time constraint on that, it's time sensitive, so waiting on after the meeting or whenever it's still going to be a need to expedite that, to get it done very
So
quickly.
we're talking about the appeal process for the residents?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we'll put out a white paper on that for our residents. I think based off of last year, I think most of them know the time submission they got right now. You know, y'all all remember the debacle we had last year when those letters came out. But we'll put something on that tomorrow.
Okay.
Just a reminder. And Commissioner McMillan, that was mainly just because we've discussed Senate Bill 33 multiple times. Just want to do a quick update on where we're with that. We're moving to Senate Bill 4417. This is less complicated, and the only reason I'm really bringing this up for the part in here that talks about where applicable, many of the provisions in Senate Bill 447 are directly toward land disturbing activities and erosion and sediment control permitting, which primarily falls on the responsibility of the city's engineering department. So I'm bringing this up. So we already provide written reasoning why we might disqualify a permit and stuff like that. But we have a fluctuation or increase of people buying trailers and then essentially buying land that does not have water or sewer, or in some cases water and sewer. And to do certain things, if you're trying to get that out there are requirements. They must be done different for the erosion permitting, and they are quite expensive. As you remember in the budget, we have been eating that cost. And that permit typically is about, I want to say $35,000, maybe $3,000. So I want to make sure that our residents understand that, because when we give them, if they don't want to pay for that permit to get that work done, that's going to be the reason, definitely with these trailers. And overall, with kind of off topic with this, we are encouraging residents before they purchase, I use the bad word, shouldn't be saying trailers, manufactured homes, that they definitely contact the city to ensure there are essential services they're either able to be provided or there are other means, septic tanks and stuff of that nature. I will tell the commission, we've had at the last request we had, we did go look at that area. It's going to cost about $350,000 to run, I think, sewer to that location, and that would not be cost effective for us, just for 2 manufactured homes. So, like I say, we need residents to really, and when we do that, we got to do our own permits as well. So that's another cost to it. We really need residents to kind of come ask questions before they go down that road, as far as purchasing manufactured homes or even land in some cases, because all land is not fit for development as far as home structures. And that's the gist of this Senate bill. They really want to go too far into, because mainly just talking about just providing the rationale for denying a permit. Do we have any questions on that, Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask the city manager.
All right, Mr. Mayor. Like I said, I want to do that kind of briefly. We've talked about these. Definitely Senate Bill 33 enough that I think it's out in the space, the public space, that our residents kind of know so what's going on, but definitely want to reinforce what the property tax actually is and what it pays for. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're going to animal management. And like I said, once we got the budget done, we will go into this discussion. Now, of course, these are all recommendations. I did sit down with the team with these recommendations, and we did change a few things from our first discussion on animal management. You did see that all the grants have been put in. We got 2 grants put in. They should help us get the program off the ground, but we're still trying to see a way to sustain it. And the way to sustain it would mean there would be a cost for certain items in this briefing moving forward after we exhaust our grant funding. So this kind of is the summary. I broke it down to like 4 main areas. So we are requesting the pet registration as part of the new program. And you can see why it helps us identify pet owners more quickly when animals are found at large. It improves the return of lost pets to their families. It provides more accurate information on emergency response and animal management planning. And it encourages responsible ownership and compliance with local ordinances. So with that registration, we're trying to put that right now where it'll be online with our new software. So it's not like it'll be an expense to it. You just be basically saying that you have an animal at this house in this location, and that way we can kind of get the accurate number of the amount of animals that we have within the city limits. And right now, I'm keeping this to dogs and cats as far as the registration process, so that we know. The next part of this will be the microchipping initiative that we discussed before in the past. Chipping can be as cheap as $10 in some cases, so that's a good thing. And that chip, it's not a tracking chip where we know where the animal's going. I mean, where the animal's going everywhere. And for information, it's just the chip to say this is my house. When we scan that chip and we'll take them back. I know there was some questions about that. But the program, it will increase the likelihood of quickly reuniting lost pets with their owners, reduce shelter stays and associated costs. Because again, if the animal is chipped, we can simply return them to the owner without any hassle. It does improve accountability when animals are repeatedly found roaming. So we know probably of our roaming animals, I'm gonna say it's a mix of 50% of them are stray, and then 50% of them are owned. And that kind of goes back to the code discussion we're gonna have about, keeping your fences updated and stuff like that. And then it increases recovery rates for emergencies and natural disasters. So, Lord forbid we have another hurricane or a major event and the animals get displaced. If they do, again, we can return them to their owners. And that first grant that we put in, I think the first one is 50,000. Just looking at the numbers right now, we're thinking that'll cover us for at least 2 or 3 years on forwards microchipping. And then once again, after that, we got to figure out a different way to pay for the chipping. On the fine adjustments, I know the commissioners had some concerns with the fine increase, so we did lower the fines. They're not on here. We're still trying to compare them to some other cities, but those fines need to go up. Same thing with discussion once they appear before court with Judge Gibson. But the fines will be more focused on increased penalties for repeated offenses involving animals running at large, escalating those fines for non-compliance, and then enhancing enforcement for violations that create public safety concerns and place unnecessary burdens on the city resources. So this is for those biting animals and those animals that destroy property. And again, the purpose of the adjustment is not to generate revenue, but to promote responsible pet ownership and then to reduce preventable incidents that impact the community overall. The fourth stage of this will be the spray and neuter program that we will be establishing. And I think we got a grant in for that. I think it's a little bit less, maybe 20,000. I'm still trying to look for some more funding for that. So again, once we start it, we would have to figure out some type of sustainment ability to keep it going with the spay and neutering. So of course, we know what spay and neutering would do with our animal population, mainly our strays. It will reduce unwanted litters. It will decrease the number of strays and abandoned animals. It will lower the shelter intake and overcrowding that we have. It would improve overall health and welfare of our local pet population and reduce long-term costs associated with animal control and shelter operations. As you know, as part of the 2023 SPLOS, we did do upgrades to the shelter to increase more capacity and also make it safer and better service for our stray animals. But again, it is not a forever home. It's meant to house animals there until we find their owners. That's the main purpose of a shelter. Now, we need our residents to understand that as well. Again, it's not a forever home. It's just to maintain temporary shelter for those pets that might get displaced. And again, with the registration and chipping program, we're hoping that will reduce that number that stay there in the shelter. So at the bottom, it says our overall objectives. The initial part of the city's proactive approach to animal management by combining education, registration, microchipping, accountability, enforcement, and spray and neuter efforts with cross aims to create a safe community for residents while improving outcomes for animals and reducing the strain on public resources. This is the timeline, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, we're looking at right now, implementing this process. So on August 1st, we're going to officially publish some updated animal management policies, and these are just policies, not necessarily charter changes. And then we're going to publish the fine schedule. This will be during the meeting, of course, it'll be voted on. The fine schedule. We're going to talk about registration requirements. And again, this is the first discussion, so everybody can understand what the plan is. Microchipping standards, and then information regarding the spray and neutering initiative on how we're going to proceed with that. Today's is a advance notice that's intended to educate residents and allow sufficient time for pet owners to become familiar with the new requirements before enforcement begins. Enforcement will begin January 1st, 2027. And that's when we go into the new pet management program that'll take effect. My goal is to have everything kind of worked out by that time as far as registration requirements and microchipping. The shelter will be completely done prior to that, so we'll have more capacity outside of the 7-8 beds that we have right now. But again, that's just a temporary solution for our animals. So the goal right now is that time period between now actually and January 2027, we'll be reaching out to communities. We'll be doing, as part of our town halls, we're gonna do some separate town halls led by the city. We'll meet here. We'll live stream it so our residents can kind of understand what's going on with animal management. And we'll do as many of those as we can to make sure they kind of just, understanding the new standards and how we're gonna move forward. And Ms. Mayor, I'm gonna stop there. Are there any questions or recommendations on that?
I have a few questions, but the main question that I do have is, are we doing this in-house, on-site, or are we going to outsource this?
So that's one of the questions. So right now it's kind of a mix of both. So as far as the registration, that'd be in-house. That's one of our programs. With the microchipping, we already chip animals now. That's in-house as well. Working with one of our mission providers. But we are going to reach out. I've been contacted by a few volunteers already. I think I put y'all on some of the email traffic of some residents who want to help out. Who have a large amount of land where we could move certain animals to if need be for forever homes at that point in time. So once we start having those meetings, because we're going to have those meetings too for volunteers, they want to help out as well. That's when it becomes a mix of reaching out. So we do have 2 companies lined up that we'll be discussing where they do all this for us. But that's another associated cost that we got to look at. So right now I'm trying to do as much in-house as we can, using grant funding and some available funding that we have from some of the SPOST. But eventually, if we can't get those grants each year, we might have to bid this out for support.
Commissioner, did you have a question?
While I think for registered pets, this could be a good thing, I still think, especially in my district, we need to address the bigger issue of feral cats. Because I know in District 4, specifically Cherokee Heights, there's a big feral cat population. While this doesn't address how we manage that, I think that's something that we need to come up with a plan on that as well.
Okay, so great point. So for the spay and neutering, so I should have mentioned that. We are doing some research right now on how to tackle that. So right now we are looking at a catch and release. I know that don't sound good, but there's no way to, like the cats, to take them and put them in any place because it's too many. I did some research and we're trying to determine should we catch all the male cats and just do them, catch all the female cats, do both, because that is a huge cost. So the team is researching that. Right now, it looks like most of these are going towards catching the male cats. Because that does, once you take away their ability, it kind of slows down a lot of the population, the aggression, a lot of things. But like I said, when I come back to y'all in August, I will know for sure on that. But right now, I'm looking at more of a catch, neuter, spay, and release. This includes the dogs too. This doesn't include the dog. This is mainly towards the cats. So that's the direction we're going in with that. So, and then again, if y'all will get a chance to look at those emails I sent you, reference on that volunteer support, you'll see a few volunteers are willing to take all those cats. So hopefully that sticks and they support that. And that's the first thing we're probably going to do is move those cats to that location once we spay and neuter them. So that way they don't increase their sales in that area.
Okay.
Any other questions?
The only other question I had, and I said I had a couple. The idea of promoting responsible, who enforce that?
So that goes again to with the judge on some of those. Well, all of us understanding what we're trying to do. That's why I say the fees got to be excessive. Now, in some cases, we can seize animals, not just because they're biting dogs or anything. We can seize them from the owners because they're not taking care of them as well, or they're not in compliance. So that'd be part of it too. I don't want to get in the habit of taking animals from everybody, but that's going to be part of it as well. But most misdemeanors, it's going to be a fine situation where we're just going to have to keep finding them. And not the yearly fine, the goal would be to do the monthly fine. Because as y'all know now, this yearly fine just has not worked as far as pet management and as far as code department management, as far as unsafe shelters and stuff like that, homes.
And And I'll look to the other Commissioner. Commissioner Sanders has a question.
I do have a question about the registration process. You said that was going to be like an integrity-based system where you would identify you
Yes.
a pet owner, give a description of the pet, and it's free
Yes.
to all the citizens.
Yes.
So if it's a dog that's not registered, what do we do
So-
for a pet that's not registered? What would the process be?
So that's gonna be the non-compliance about the fee increase and the fines. That's why I said the fines gotta be significantly higher for this to work. I
So
know.
who are we finding though?
The pet
if
owner.
it's not registered to a pet
Yeah.
owner? If
Well,
it's a
so,
non-registered pet.
so we'll do spot checking, and I'll give you a good example on that. So if we, get a call, we get the call about the barking dogs at night and stuff, and then we come and the pet is not registered, that'll be the time that we find them, Let me go back. This won't be perfect. It'll be some animals that we don't, we do not know about. The goal right now is to get it to a manageable situation. Definitely the cats. And the focus will be cats. I think our bigger problem is going to be the cats versus the dogs. That's why we kind of focus heavy on figuring out the cats. But this is in hope of, like everybody says they care about the community, and we hit that often that everybody buys in and does the right thing. Because mainly the registration is really, like I said, it's 50-50. A lot of times the animal jumps the fence without a collar or gets out of the house. And having that resource, we can just get the animal back to the owner, like really quickly. It prevents them from getting hit in traffic, all kind of additional breeding, all kind of things. So I'm hoping that everybody kind of, through education, because we're going to talk about this a lot over the next few months as well, understands, for this to really work, it's got to be a community solution, not just a policy decision by the commission. So, but hopefully, like I said, we're going to bring some speakers in as well just to talk about this. Hopefully everybody buys in.
And I'll continue. District 1, did you have any questions? District 2?
No, not in
And District 4, any further questions?
No.
And District 5?
I would just recommend that we move forward with this as soon as possible.
We will, Commissioner, like I said, the reason I did the August, like I said, I want to make sure that funding comes in. We should know about the funding here in a couple of weeks. And then we're looking at some other funding sources too. I want to make a kitty as much as possible. Again, the registration can be pretty much be free the whole time. The chipping, there will come a time where there has to be a cost associated with that. I can't see it being over like $25, more than $25. And then with the spade and neutering, so some of that money we use on there initially, but there will come a time we got to figure that out as well, as far as sustainment. All right, Mr. Mayor. Next, we're going to move into the Planning Commission, and this is an appointment. Whoops. And do we have the name? Y'all have the name up there in your packets? Okay. So y'all should have the name up there.
It's, I saw it earlier.
Post 1,
Yes.
we have C.K. Cyrus. Post 2, William Simmons. Post 3, Christy King Foreman. Post 4, Eunice Dixon. Post 5, Joshua Larissy. Post 6, Felicia Brown. Post 7, Angela Strickland. Post 8, Joe Skinner. And Post 9, Jeffrey Parker. The cities are Joe Skinner, Felicia Brown, Eunice Dixon, and William Simmons. Those were the ones, as well as C.K. Cyrus. Those were the names that were placed before us. And did we have another name beyond that?
No, sir, I believe that there's a sheet attached, if I may speak.
Okay, you may.
And I think we're only looking at 2 posts. We're only looking at reappointment, I think, of Ms. Eunice Dixon. And Ms. Felicia Brown is wanted to be relieved, but that post falls back on the county.
On the county. Okay. And Ms. Eunice wants to be renewed?
Yes.
Okay. So just all we need is a
for Ms.
consent.
Eunice, yeah.
Okay, okay. So what I'll do, I'll start with District 1.
Yes, sir.
District 2.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, a quick question. My name was mentioned.
I think Ms. Eunice is in this space, is that correct?
No. No,
He's not?
No.
So your name is still on the list then?
but I'm not supposed to be on there.
All right, so we'll have to make that correction.
I'm supposed to be on there.
And I believe this, if I may speak, sir,
Yes.
I believe this came from them. So the error is on.
Right, on the
them.
planning commission.
Yes.
So once they make that correction, we'll handle that then, but at this point, we're just talking about Ms. Eunice.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir, that's fine.
And District,
Yes.
District 4
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
So we have all 5 consenting, and that can go on our
Yeah, okay.
agenda for tomorrow.
All right. All right, Mr. Mayor, next we're gonna move on to the GFA project. I did email and call the commission about requesting to put in for this project, and I'll explain the opening in the meeting now. So over the last year, you know, we addressed a lot of long-standing drainage issues at the intersection of Eva Street, Still Avenue, and Harrison Street. As construction of the new school progress, the city coordinated its efforts with the project to replace much of the aging stormwater infrastructure in that area. That's that part right there next to the football field, where all those streets kind of come together. And we always had that flooding there for many years. So we were able to fix that part of that, that we did fix. So the flooding is not there as much, but we need to fix the other side to ensure it doesn't come back that way. So like I said, we identified the damage on the other culvert, which is on St. Mary Street. So that's the front side of the new school. If y'all can envision that. So that culvert has reached failure as well, and it requires a full replacement. But because of the school, you know, construction, we weren't able to do it at the same time that we did the other side. So now we're gonna go ahead and knock that out before it fails, something else goes worse as far as sinkhole or something. And we're in a better position to move forward with the school being built. So the estimated cost of that culvert replacement was about $400,000. Of course, this is the estimate only of not really going in the ground, so it's kind of conservative. Of course, we pursuing funding, so we did do the GFA loan, which will require a match of 10%. So really, out of that $400,000, the city we're paying about $35,000, if the project remains $400,000. So regardless of how it is, we gotta do a 10% match. And we have some other funding too that we're looking at. So maybe we can cover that 10% match with another type of water and sewer fund that the grant team is looking at. But right now we're going strictly to the GFA program. This funding, which I put in for, allows city to address a critical infrastructure need while maximizing outside resources and minimizing the financial impact on local taxpayers. Part of this commission, the St. Mary Street, as I briefed before, moving forward, although we have a prioritization list, I would like to, if we have to do major infrastructure work, go ahead and pave those roads, since we're gonna open them up anyway. But for this money to cover this, we have to pave that whole street, St. Mary's, all the way down. I forgot what street it turns into, but we're gonna hit a portion of that street too to get the whole GFA grant. So we gotta show them we're gonna do 1,000 feet of pavement. So I can't remember what the next street was, but it's gonna go onto that street as well. The only hiccup now that we have is this, you know, the school's requesting that we either did it right now, which we can't do because we gotta wait till the funding come in, or we wait to another time when they're not in school. I would like to, but we can only wait so long. Once the funding comes in, I'm gonna want to immediately jump on it, because if that COVID falls in or something, then we got to pay for more stuff. So we're gonna try our best to hurry to get the funding in, put it out for bid, and get the work started as soon as possible. But I can't guarantee that we can wait to, what's the first break they'll have? Maybe
Fall break.
fall break. I don't think we can wait that long. So I know it shouldn't be a big issue, because the buses could come in the other way. I mean, the pavement will be the last thing we'll do anyway, and that wouldn't take but, you know, maybe a week or so. The culvert replacement, normally we're talking 60 to 90 days. But I don't know that until we open it up and see what's going on in there. So again, we can't really guarantee, but it is bad down there, and we need to go ahead and fix it. And we would have fixed it before, but we had to wait till they got done, you know, putting the new school together. And again, it's just an update to the commission. Do we have any questions about it or concerns?
So that's over by Central?
The new middle school,
Right.
yes. That's correct.
So it's off of Harrison.
And St. Mary's is that like I said, when we did the tour to the school,
Right. It's near the Montessori school.
Yeah.
area. I know it
yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
is. Commissioner.
I spoke with the chairman of the school board, and he said they have a contingency plan for getting buses in and out in that area for the time being. But that summertime wish list and that fall spring break wish list was a wish list.
Yes.
And I told them that we can't move forward without the funding in place, so they're gonna be patient on that, and he understands.
Okay.
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Well, I do-
And I want to be clear that, oh, go ahead, Commissioner.
My concern is the statement or the estimate of 4,000 and 400,000, like close to a half a million,
Yes.
without having the knowledge of going into it.
Well, let me,
Because that could increase by huge amounts, correct?
it shouldn't, so let me go back. So when we first got, before the school was there, when they were just doing the groundbreaking, and we would start working on Eve, you know, it's a line that goes through that whole site, right? And there's another line that goes up kind of like a U shape to the other side. So that's when we were having that discussion about what to do, what to replace. So we were able to see the culvert then. Like I said, we could see what needs to be placed then. When I say open it up, I mean further down the street. So I don't think it's too many utilities on that side of the road, because it's only been the school there and the neighborhood that was there previously. Of course, it wasn't laid down properly either. So I don't think, and our engineer did look at it. That's why he did the cost estimate. I don't think it'd be that much more than 400,000. You look at Lee Avenue, it was more because it was bigger, and it definitely was damaged beyond that. This is when I say it's reached a failure. I mean it's collapsing in. So I think we'll come back to the commission if the price is that much higher, but I don't foresee it being that much higher. Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're gonna move into the King Initiative that I've been discussing with the commission on off channels, and we got this idea from a few sources, and I want to kind of talk about where we really got it from. So I'm quoting former First Lady, Miss Obama. There's only so much you can do from Washington, and government can't be everywhere and do everything. So we need active, engaged citizens like everybody in the room, everybody in the communities, and everybody that complains, about stuff. So that's kind of where we got it from. And also, tomorrow, the commission will be recognizing some groups that already do this. We're going to recognize, I think, 3 groups tomorrow that have participated, and I'll go over this in detail tomorrow. But I'll touch on one group myself right now. So when I first got here, we had a group of young men, and they helped me, when I say fix 20 homes, I mean either go over there, cut the grass, move trees, fix air conditioners, do plumbing, all those things. But they done a lot. Clear whole sites, get rid of all the clutter. And they did a lot. Unfortunately, it was only I think maybe 7 people, and they got burnt out, and just they can't do it anymore. But I do want to recognize them. We got the Homes for Habitat, or the Christmas in July program as well. We recognizing them. They had done a lot of work. This last month, they did 10 homes as well. And these groups normally don't ask for recognition, and they might not even show up tomorrow, even though I asked them to come and be awarded. And we actually got, I want to say, 3 groups like that for sure. Hopefully they show up tomorrow. I did reach out to them and said we need to let everybody else see that the people out here in the community, they talk it and they walk it, and we want to maximize that effort. So we're trying to keep in the thing with the former First Lady on about everybody being to help, and this is what the King Initiative means: knowledge, investment, nurture, and growth make a strong community. And again, strong communities are not built by the government alone. They're not built by the government at all. They're built by neighbors who are willing to invest their time, talents, and compassion to helping one another. As we continue working to improve our neighborhoods, we recognize that not everybody's property is a result of neglect or indifference. So again, y'all remember when we talked about with Judge Gibson, and we discussed those three boxes. We had the folks who were non-compliant, who wanted to fix their area, but they either were too old or didn't have the resources or the ability to. We had the other being of those who were not here. So we can't even figure out what's going on. And then we had those who were here and it's pretty much going to be non-compliant regardless because they didn't want to be compliant. So right now, I'm going to address that first being with our neighbors who cannot do this for themselves because they don't have the finances, they don't have the health, other things. Hopefully with these groups. The group I mentioned earlier, they are ramping back up to help us out. We're going to make sure that we stay better in contact with the Christmas July program a little bit more. And then hopefully we get more volunteers. The one thing to make this work and to provide a little more funding is once these programs come up, we got to have licensed contractors, at least a licensed contractor, at least a licensed plumber, at least a licensed electrician to make the permit process a little bit better as we go through help these homes. The Christmas July program, they have all three of those facets already. That's why they can move so fast on doing stuff inside the homes versus other groups who have to mainly focus on outside the homes, cutting the grass, moving the trees, put up the fences, all those things. So the goal is to mimic that group, times 10. So we are looking for 100 volunteers, pretty much to come to these programs. And again, you see what the King Initiative is, and I say this extends way beyond just right around cutting grass. We really want to get engaged with that population, that third of our population, which is a huge population here of our elderly, and assist them with getting their homes maintained and sustained to a point they can live better. And I'm gonna make a point. Let me go back. A point here. I think some of y'all on the email traffic. We had a home that burned down. 2 weeks ago. It's in District 5. Getting a lot of complaints. I don't think the neighbors understand that the family, everybody's out of work right now. They don't have the funds to fix the house. It's unlivable. They really ain't got nowhere to go. So, it's unfortunate. This is the time too that we take a step back and be a little bit compassionate from the codes. I did pull the codes back. I often do when we talk to this third population that they can't help themselves. So I did reach out to a few volunteers, and I think they're gonna go out there next weekend. If the weather permits, and start helping out with some of the blighted stuff they have out there. Have a lot of stuff out there, so they're gonna start with that. But that's all they really can do because the home has reached a point that it might not be salvageable. This also goes back to the conversation that we stressed to our home people to have homeowners insurance. A lot of these homes, when this happens, they don't have homeowners insurance, and then it's an even tougher battle to get stuff fixed. And then we have a resident trying to fix stuff themselves. It's almost impossible. So again, we're looking at 100 volunteers to stand, with us, and help us, do this small part of our shared issues, come together. Like I say, we all target that start walking it together and get out here and help support those that need our support. And that's part of the King Initiative. And again, some of the commissioners already started this internally, getting people together. Hopefully, around when we get back from the GMA, we're going to have a meeting. I'm going to ask all those individuals to come out here. We'll have some pizza. We're going to brainstorm a schedule for the next year, with the goal being at least 5 homes a month. And that 5 homes mean, various stuff. Now, if we get those people we need with the licensed electricians and contractors and all that, we can do a lot more because our ability changes. So that's the program we're putting together. We don't need any action from the commission as far as legislative outside of y'all buying in. I know some of the commissioners are going to be out there with those groups as well, and then I'm going to figure out a way to recognize them in other ways. Although none of them want to be recognized, they're doing this out of the kindness of their heart. We have to show it so that other people see it is being done. So I'm going to stop there. Mr. Mayor, do we have any questions on the King Initiative or comments, recommendations?
I have one. While I love a good acronym, I deal with them every day. My only concern is the public perception of a body of government using King as a acronym. Just the public perception, even though knowledge, investment, nurture, growth is all great. I just think the perception may be perceived the wrong way. In fact, I think it has somewhat. So that would be my only concern. is, just from a public perception. Because I don't want them to think that we're sitting up here on our thrones and, that kind of thing. Because we already get that image at times anyway. I just think maybe if we explained or, I don't know. I'm just
I
kind
can
of.
explain right now.
Yeah, I'm just kind of throwing that out there because I think that is going to be a public perception issue.
Yeah. So those individuals, they don't help anyway. So they don't show up for anything, they don't support anything. So what I'm not saying this to be like negative, but what they think really doesn't matter at this point, And I I did that for a purpose, in the Army, because, I was in the Army. So one thing that we do, we hunt for the good stuff. And we try to turn negative into a positive. So they can throw the names out there and do what they want to do. I'm always going to turn it to a positive. So the same amount of time they got to complain about this word, they can be out here, now it's an investment in the same community that they complain about. But they're not going to do that, So unless, the commission, y'all can vote on the name if y'all want to change it. But
I'm just
yeah,
throwing that out there because
I get you, Commissioner. You got it. I'm with
I
you.
already know it's going to be.
Got you, Commissioner. But they'll be watching from the sidelines, and they'll be on Facebook. They'll be typing. They won't pick up a rake. They won't go to nobody's house. They won't feed nobody. They won't paint no building. They won't do anything. So again, their opinion is irrelevant. So I'm just being honest. All right.
Mr. Mayor, looking at the acronym, I thought about the King. The King.
Yeah. And we did tie it into God. That was
Yeah,
something else
exactly.
too.
The King
Yes.
Jesus. This is the stuff he did.
Yeah.
These are people he hung out with.
Correct. And we tied into that. And again, I don't want to be dead horse, but they don't even take the time to read what it says. And that's one thing we got to start doing as a community. We got to start reading stuff from, definitely some of the topics we covered today. You got to start doing your own research, get your own understanding. And again, everybody got two hands. Like I say, if you really want the community to foster and get better, then use your two hands. These groups that we're gonna recognize tomorrow have been doing this since I've been here. And for a long time I didn't want to say stuff like no, but we know who spends their time every weekend doing stuff around here with our residents. But I think for everybody to understand it, because some of our people, unfortunately, they're only gonna find truth when it already aligns with what they believe. So we need to show them some truth. And they go to air conditioning.
Thank God.
All right. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're gonna move into petition to close it right away. And I think, do we have that verbiage over there? To close it right away? Did we put that in the packets?
Yes.
Okay, y'all did see that. And we'll talk about that more at the meeting. So we need consensus to put that on the agenda for tomorrow.
Just for
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
clarity, do we need a consent to put
Yes.
this on for tomorrow?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. With that being said, I'm going to go to each. This is your last document in your writings, petition to close. And if I can get consent from each, we'll go ahead and place this inside of our docket for tomorrow. District 1.
Yes, sir.
District 2.
Yes, sir.
District 3.
Yes, sir.
District 4.
Yes, sir.
And District 5.
Yes, sir.
We have consent and it can be on the docket for the morning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, Mr. Mayor, this time we don't have any privileged license renewals. We don't have any privileged licenses. Is that gonna be ordinance, I think? So we're gonna have one ordinance and 2 resolutions. We had a second reading. 4 ordinances. We had the changes for the charter. So we're gonna have 4 ordinances.
And 2 resolutions.
2 resolutions. And this time, Mr. Mayor, I will turn it over to the city attorney if she has a report.
Thank you, City Manager. Mayor, Commission, one quick reminder that tomorrow, starting at 4:15, we do have hearings set up, 4:15, 4:30, and 4:45. That information was provided in your workbooks. And I also wanted to give a quick update that we are still continuing to work on the answers to file from the petition that we received from the Sons of Confederate Veterans and their attorneys. Our deadline to have that filed is going to be Monday, June 22nd. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
City Attorney. Mr. Mayor, we're going to my report. And the city continues to make our investments in infrastructure. I will say that we also did another survey about the top 5 priorities the city's residency should be. And I think road was first. I'm gonna send it to y'all tonight. Roads was first, improving roads, and then infrastructure. So they kind of separated paving the road and fixing the culverts and stuff like that, but they're really the same thing. So we keep doing that. Got ongoing dirt street paving is going good. Drainage canals improvements, and although we've had all this rain lately, it's always a test of the mighty work that our public works has done last year. So that water, if you can think about it, even Saturday, that water was gone in about 30 minutes. I can think of a time we sit there for a whole day. So I want to thank Public Works for everything they've done over the last 3 years since I've been here, because they've done a lot of work to fix our drainage problems. I talked about Lee culvert replacement and stormwater replacements in our parks, and again, Public Works there, and their canal maintenance and their stormwater mitigations. I do think we have some reporters coming in town this week to talk about our efforts for hurricane season, hurricane prep. We'll start putting information about hurricane preparations for our residents, and I would just say again, I put out a few posts. City pages put out a few posts. We're just asking residents to go ahead and prepare as much as you can with the finances you do have, although we understand everybody's finances are different. Budget, Mr. Mayor, the budget got passed, and we're going to keep on working with balance and sustain as we move forward. And of course, we remain committed to using our taxes properly. And again, all our taxes go to our best service, which is our people. All right, this is the community focus here, Mr. Mayor. And this kind of talks about the King movement and the neighborhood improvements. And again, I did go around upon the commission's request. I did talk to all of the housing authorities and property managers of all the apartment complexes over the last week. I will do a executive summary for you and get it to you hopefully by the end of the week. We do have some strong concerns about some of the areas that you mentioned. I did call a few of you directly because they're directly in your districts. But since that time, I got called from the actual owners that are out of state, and they would make some changes to the actual property managers. So that's a good thing for us. Also was informed of some of the uptick in gangs in these housings that shouldn't have gangs in there. So although T. Cox is not here, he's going to definitely be handling that moving forward to those areas that you know about. So that's a good thing for us. All right, and then again, we're committed to, financial accountability, transparent governance. With that, with the governance, I'm trying to make sure that I go to a little bit. We do have on our new website, our new website can do many things. We're going to have a government compliance page on there over the next month, which outline all our reporting requirements, what we report to, and the funding associated with it. I'm just trying to figure out where that goes on the website. The zones remain the same, Commission. Streets and dirt roads, we talked about that already. Again, with Scrivens, let me make this clear with everybody. Scriven is, I think we're doing 1.6 miles on Scrivens. I forget how long it is. I do not know where all of the, not speed bumps, speed strips going. There is regulatory guidance on where they can go. So when I first briefed this, I was thinking I could put them anywhere. But they got to be in a certain proximity from stop signs or yield signs. So once all that's figured out, then we'll put that out. Again, this is a test pilot to see if that works. When I say speed strips, I'm talking about the rumble when you ride over it. So we're definitely going to try to, just looking right down my head, there are a few homes that possibly will hear that. I know that was a question. So the commission will have to balance moving forward about that inconvenience in hearing it and people slowing down. Okay. We talked about the water treatment plant, those things going on there. Again, this is the prioritization list. We did find the new program. I'm gonna brief the new program once we get back from the conference. You're probably gonna receive a briefing on it through email, so you can have your questions ready for the briefing. It does prioritize a little differently than robotics did, but it might be better for us. I'm using one street that got missed in District 4, Atlantic Street. Probably should have been higher on the list. Went back and looked at some things and how it got fell through. So this new system puts further matrix in there to assess streets. So we're going once that's implemented, we're going to get that started. So it might not be changing as fast as I thought. I'm still going to hit that goal for reprioritizing everything on August 1st. But definitely want to get back and brief you all on the new database and then go from there. Collaboration projects. Codes. And for the general public, and I brief the commission right now, our first thing we want to work on is getting the animal policy management policy updated and implemented, and then we're going to follow up with changing some of the code over the next 90 days. This is your May monthly finance report. You can see where the money goes there. You can see our property tax amount, our sales tax amount, and then our business licenses amount. And you can see there, if you just imagine, you see the business brings in a lot less than the property taxes. And to go back to that first statement, what might have to happen if anything changed, we will be relying more heavily on the businesses. This site stay connected. And I think, okay, this is the new slide that Mr. Simmons put in here, and I want everybody to look at this. This is kind of how you can stay with us even a little bit better. So I was very pleased the other day. I was actually in Walmart when the first, and some of y'all got the call too when it came through the text, the phone call, and the email saying we had some down trees and traffic lights and stuff like that. So this is a great program. I wish more residents would sign up for it because you would get notification, firsthand. But if not, you can go to the website, get the same announcements. Again, we've upgraded our website. It's interactive. And I'll kind of touch on that at the end of this. On the mobile app, it's still there for people. Our daily posts, and then our emerging notifications, and then weekly email blasts and city events. But the main thing, asking everybody to go ahead and sign up for Civics Plus to get out information to come directly to you. So it's not just emergency alerts and stuff like that. You will get, if we do a post on Facebook, you're gonna get that sent to you through that. If we do a meeting here, you're gonna get that as well through this link. And you set up how you want to have it and what you want to get alerts from. So you just want to get a notification on meetings, you just put that in there, and then you kind of go from there. So that was great work by Mr. Simmons and his team. Again, we're trying our best to communicate with our residents. I'm gonna use some numbers real fast. They're not on here, but when everybody kind of understands. So, originally when we were on Facebook more, and of course we decreased that interaction for various reasons. We still get what you call through the portal, through the website. It's the online citizen concern form. I get about 25 of those every morning. So this actually is more than I ever got on Facebook. Then the phone calls, we average about, 25 to 75 a week, as far as that. And it really works because it gets routed to all the department heads. We get emails, so whoever the person is putting in for the complaint, they get email back. It kind of coincides with the app, does the same thing to the app. But for those who are not as app savvy, this works a little bit better because it's just come back to you with a text message and an email. So really want everybody to sign up for this. It's a great program. With that, Mr. Mayor, with that, we do have an executive session. It is for personnel.
I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for personnel.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
We have a
Second.
motion from Commissioner Roberts, a second from our Commissioner
It sounds like
Sanders, excuse me. Motion from Commissioner Sanders and seconded by our Mayor Pro Tem. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. We're in executive session. Thank you.